Hello, everyone. So, this is going to be another episode of the series Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Eleanor Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled, It's Never a Good Time to Give Up. Now, before I get started with today's episode, I first want to introduce myself. If this is the first time that you are watching this series, or if you're just getting to learn more about the work that I do, and I also want to share with you what led me to even start this series, Motivational Monday Live. So, once again, my name is Aurelena Martinez, and I'm a self discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so that they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, a purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. Why not? Because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life. And this is because a purposeful life is also consists of you experiencing greater levels of mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and why not even financial well-being. And this is because every part of you and your life matters. They all play a role in your well being, they all play a role in your happiness. And what led me to do this series, Motivational Monday Live, is the fact that Monday tends to be that day of the week that many are already feeling the frustration, the anxiety, the, oh my God, another day, same thing as always, same old, right? And I'm going to tell you this. If you're already feeling frustrated at the beginning of the week, not looking forward to the week, not looking forward to going to work, let that be your sign that something drastically needs to change. This is your invitation for you to gain the clarity that you need as to what your next steps needs to be. This is your sign. This is your sign. And it is also my hope that Mondays become that day of the week that you look forward to because you know you're going to be fed. You're going to be fed on an emotional level. You're going to be fed on a mental level. You're going to be fed on a spiritual level because this series is what's going to start filling you up. And it is also my sincere desire that this series allows you to get more and more connected to who you really are, more and more connected to your truth. Because only when you're living your truth are you able to live authentically. And also that this series raise your level of consciousness. And why is this so important? Because the more you raise your level of consciousness, the more you're able to see things differently, the more you're able to get context of things, right? You're able to feel life differently. Just like when you're looking at things from the first floor, everything starts looking big. The cars look big, the buildings, everything just looks big. Yet when you are on the 10th floor, things start looking a bit smaller, right? Things start feeling and looking differently. What used to look big to you from a first floor starts looking a little smaller. You start gaining a different perspective in life. The same thing happens when you start raising your level of consciousness. And why is this so important? Because the more you raise your level of consciousness, you get a better perspective of life. You're able to see life for how it really is rather than the way it looks right now at this very moment, right? You're able to make better decisions for yourself. Our level of consciousness affects so many things, the way we view life, the decisions that we make, what resonates with us, what doesn't resonate. So, this is so important. This is so important. So, it is my desire that this raises your level of consciousness to such a degree that you're able to live a more fulfilling life. And going back to today's topic, again, this week's episode is entitled, It is Never a Good Time to Give Up. And what do I mean giving up on? On your dreams, on your desires, on your vision, on your goals. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because this is the last week of March. Can you believe that? Next week is already April. And after this week, 3 months will have passed of this year. And if you haven't even come close to you reaching those goals that you have, those dreams, those desires that you have, or probably you are slacking off because of lack of motivation. And by the way, if this is occurring, this is for you. And I want you to remember what I mentioned in the very first episode. And if you haven't watched that episode, then I'm going to highly recommend, thank you for the likes. I'm going to highly recommend that you watch the very first episode of this series, because I spoke about motivation. Motivation is very fleeting. You do not want to rely on that. That is unreliable. But anyways, I also want to talk about this topic because from what I have observed, this usually tends to be the time that people tend to slack off. They tend to lose motivation. They start procrastinating on the things that they say that they want. And when this is the case, this is when you can start coasting in mediocrity. Okay? Now, there is such a thing as coasting while driving. And you will understand why I'm using this as an analogy when it comes to you coasting in mediocrity. So keep listening, because you're going to see the link between the two. Coasting while driving usually occurs when going downhill, right? And this is basically when the engine isn't connected to the wheel of the car. Right? So basically, the car is being taken down on an incline by the gravity and the vehicle's momentum. Keep listening, because you're going to see the correlation between this and how you may be handling your life and your goals and your vision right now. So take a moment to imagine that. But for just a moment, start imagining what I just said, right? Because this imagery is going to apply to you and your life. And why is coasting while driving a bad idea? Think about it. Just imagine a car going downhill. All I can think about is San Francisco, a car going down the hill, right? And the engine is not connected to the wheel. Why is that a bad idea? Because you start losing control of your vehicle. Okay? You pick up speed faster and go faster than you should. Not a good idea. And how does this analogy apply to you and your life? And what does it mean to coast in mediocrity? Well, to coast in mediocrity basically means to disconnect yourself from the bigger picture, from your vision. Remember what I said about coasting while driving? What it means is that the engine is disconnected from the wheel. Your vision, your dreams, your goals, that becomes the motor, the engine for you. The moment you're disconnected from your vision, you're disconnected from the engine. And you are going to then lose control of your vehicle, which is you. You are the main vehicle to everything. Right? So I want you to remember that. When this happens, you're literally going with the flow of how your life is, even if you don't like the way it flows. That's what coasting in mediocrity is. And this is when you find yourself going day by day and not going by your own agenda. You're going by someone else's agenda when this is the case. Guaranteed. And this is when you find yourself waking up in the morning, because this is how it looks like to coast literally mediocrity, right? And I say this with so much love because you are full of potential. You are full of so much goodness. If how you're living your life is good for you and you love it, great. But if you know that you are meant for so much more, this is going to apply. This is when you find yourself waking up in the morning, getting yourself ready for work. You go to work. You come back from work. You do whatever you got to do at home. Then you go to sleep. And then you rinse and repeat. Where did your desires go? Where did all the things that you wanted to do go? Where did that life that you want to live go? This is when you find yourself living a life that feels boring to you, right? This is when it becomes like the same old, same old. And that's when things start losing its glamour, its purpose, right? This is when you can find yourself not remembering why you're doing what you're doing, what you're meant to be doing, how you're meant to be living. And this is no way to live. This is no way to live. This is actually a slow death that you're experiencing. Oh, yeah. I go there. This is a slow death. This is a slow death for the spirit, for the mind. And it will actually affect you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And the reason why I say physically is because anything that's affecting you on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level eventually will affect you on a physical level. That's because your body is feeling everything. Your body is sensing everything. And I want you to remember this. Whenever you're not speaking your own truth or whatever you're not saying, your body is going to start speaking for you. There are times that we experience random pains, random aches, random this, random headaches, constant headaches, and we just think it's a physical thing. When what can be happening also is that your body is speaking for you where you don't dare to speak for yourself. I want you to get the value of what I just said, because this is so important. This is why aches and pains and headaches and stuff like that, these are not things for us to dismiss as something random. These things can be happening because your body is trying to signal to you, communicate to you what you are not willing to see for yourself or even communicate or admit to yourself. This is so important. This is so important. Okay? So if anything that you get from today's message, get that. Get that. Why is coasting in mediocrity a bad idea? Because you're going to lose control of your own vehicle, and that vehicle is you. Okay? You are the main vehicle. You will literally lose control of you. You will lose control of your mind. You will lose control of your actions. You will lose control of your feelings. You will lose control of how you respond to things. Forget about responding. You may not even respond at that point when you lose control of yourself. You're going to be reacting to things. And I want you to get this. There's a big difference between the two. Respond requires you to process what happened, to process what's going on within you, and to think about what is the result that you're wanting to get. And then consider these three to determine what behavior or action you're going to take. That's what responding is. Whereas reacting is just based on what you're feeling at this moment. You just want to let off steam. It's just whatever is at the moment. You see the difference. Responding, by default, you are in control of your own vehicle. You are in control of yourself. Reacting, you have no control of yourself. No control of yourself at that very moment. And what's going to take over instead are your habits. Your habits in your thinking, your habits in your feelings, your habits in your actions. Yeah, I dare to go there. Even your thinking, your feelings, and your actions, not just actions, but your thinking and your feeling could be a habit. You'd be surprised. There are people that they have a habit of being frustrated. They don't even realize it. They have a habit of being sad. They don't even realize it. And when you're not mindful of what your habits are, they become your default mode. This is why this is very important. This is why this topic is very important. This is why what I'm sharing is very important. And this is one of the biggest reasons why many don't achieve the things that they want, because they have habits that do not support the dreams, the desires, the goals, the vision that they have. That can become a problem. And then sometimes we are here mistakenly thinking that it's because probably we don't have what it takes, or this isn't working, that isn't working. You probably have habits that you not even realize that are in place, and that is not allowing you to really have the things that you want, because your habits are not supporting what it is that you desire. And I am telling you this, it's a bad idea to go with the flow of how your life is if your life isn't quite the way you want it to be. It's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. In order for you to have, be, and do the things that you desire, you have to go against the gravity of your life. You have to go against the gravity of your life. The reason why many do not change their life is because they're going with the gravity of life. So if everything is going downhill, they just keep going downhill with everything, right? And why is it that some people just go with the gravity of life? Because it's easier, right? Because it doesn't require much of them, because it doesn't require much effort. If your life isn't the way you want it to be, it's because on some level, whether you realize it or not, you're going with the gravity of life. And when I say the gravity of life, I mean with the way things are in your life. That's what I mean. The gravity of life is the way your life is at the moment, right? You're either giving into the fear. And life, when I say life, I'm not referring only to the external, I'm also referring to the internal, right? You could be giving into your fear. You're believing your limitations. You're still doing the things that you're doing, but they are not giving you the results that you are wanting. You're believing your own excuses. You're believing more you're out of reality than you're in a reality. You're giving into today's comfort rather than focusing on your vision. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. And that's because your vision is going to require a whole lot of you. And it's going to require you to become the person that you're not yet, the person that can actually fulfill those things that you want. All these things that I just mentioned, these are all forms of you coasting in mediocrity. All of it is. All of this is you living below your potential. It is you living below your potential. It is never a good time to coast in mediocrity. It never is. It never is. You're not going to get the life that you want by coasting in mediocrity. You're not going to get the life that you want by living in fear. You're not going to get the life that you want believing your limitations. You're not going to get the life that you want still doing the very things that you're doing, but they're not giving you the results that you want. Like, none of these things are going to get you the life that you want. Okay? And I'm going to explain to you why it is never a good time for you to give up on your vision and keep coasting in mediocrity. It is never a good time because, number one, your vision gives you life. Your vision gives you life. You're either doing one of these two things. You're either existing or you're living. Okay? And you having life in this earth doesn't mean that you're just living. You may be living, physically living, but you're not really living per se. That's not really what I mean when I say living. Okay? The majority of the people, believe it or not, they're just existing. Existing. So many people just exist. This is why so few are living the life that they so desire. Because to live is going to challenge you. To live is going to push you past your boundaries, past your comfort zone, past your so-called limitations, past your conditionings. You living is going to require that. And your vision gives you life. It's going to provide growth. A lot of growth is going to be required out of you. But that's part of you living. Okay? And I want you to also get this. Existing is a slow death for your soul. It is. It's a slow death for your soul. And this is because your soul thrives when you're living your life according to who you really are. Okay? So if you're living someone else's agenda rather than your own, you're just simply existing. If you're coasting in any form of mediocrity, this is just existing. And I know that you don't want to just exist. You want to live. You want to live. When you have a vision, you have an agenda. Okay? And when you live, your own agenda, you will have purpose. You will start living your life on purpose and with purpose. This by default will make you feel that inner happiness that you seek. There's people that they go chase happiness. Happiness is not necessarily chasing goals, but more so you living according to your true essence. When you're living according to your true essence, you are being your essence. You get where I'm going with this? I wish I would have said this in Spanish and I didn't. When you're living your own agenda and you're living according to things that you want, what the kind of life that you desire, you start being happiness. Happiness is not so much about you chasing things, but about you being who you really are. Right? Being who you really are. And as you be, you start living. As you be, you start living, okay? You're going to feel filled up. You're going to feel that happiness that you so crave. You're going to feel that excitement for life, right? And that's what we all seek. And when you notice that your life looks good on paper, but deep down, you're just not feeling satisfied, you're not feeling happy, something just doesn't seem to be clicking, that could be a sign that you may be living according to someone else's agenda and not your own. You know how many times we live other people's agendas and we don't even realize it? You will know when you chose a career because mom or dad or the family says, or the culture, according to the culture, being a certain thing is the right thing to do. Or because, oh, if I have this profession, then I'm going to have the money, but that's not really what you want to do, but it's been imposed in you. These are the things that is so important to uncover so that you can start living a life that's more authentic to who you really are and not according to something that has been imposed on you. Okay? That's when you're living someone else's agenda when that's the case, rather than your own agenda. When you live your own agenda, you're going to start experiencing a deeper sense of happiness that cannot be bought anywhere, that cannot be bought in stores, that cannot be faked. Okay? And I want you to keep in mind this. Your agenda may not match someone else's agenda, and that's okay. Your agenda may not make sense to someone else, and that's okay, right? Seek your understanding rather than someone else's understanding. There are times that we seek other people's understanding, and I'm going to tell you this from personal experience. When you try to seek other people's understanding, you're going to be more lost because that's when you're opening space, you're opening your ears, you're opening your mind, you're opening your heart, you're opening your space to other people's opinion that may not even go with the opinion that your inner essence has. So another thing I wish I would have said in Spanish that I didn't. So if you speak both languages and you're watching this in both languages, you're getting other benefits, right? Because you may get something in the Spanish that you don't get in the English and vice versa. Right? Seek your understanding, not someone else's understanding, because no one else can really understand you and your essence and your soul and your purpose and your vision and how you were designed and the path that you're meant to be taking. No one else can understand that. Okay? The second reason why it's never a good time to give up on your vision is because you may be closer than you can possibly imagine to that which you desire. Just when you're about to give up, just when you are the most resistant, just when you're feeling fed up and tired, that's when you are way closer to what you desire than you can possibly imagine. As impossible as that may seem, right? And this is another reason why some don't achieve the things that they want. Because when they experience this, they think that that's a sign that they should stop. No, that is actually the opposite. In reality, these are signs to keep going. These are signs to keep going. anything that's new and that's so-called big that you desire, it's going to feel strange. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It will require more out of you, right? It will feel like a stretch. That's normal. All of that is normal. You experiencing all of this is normal. And it's time to normalize the discomfort. We're all wanting to feel comfortable and flow and ease, but anything that is new is going to feel uncomfortable at first. This is why I say that it's time to normalize the discomfort, because that's a part of it, right? Because what's comfortable is what you're used to, it's what you're familiar with, it's what you've been doing all this time, right? And I know that you don't want just what you've been used to. I know that. You normalize the discomfort of something new by remembering and reminding yourself that it's a normal part of the process. It's a normal part of the process. That is a sign that change is coming, right? That something new is forming. Just like when you're exercising and you feel the soreness, oh my God, you don't take that as, oh, this is wrong, the workout must be wrong, I guess I'm not supposed to be lifting weight. No, that's a normal part of the losing weight, of the working out, right? And the third reason why it's never a good time to give up on your vision is because by you living out your desire, you become a permission slip for someone else to do the same. This is a phrase that I heard Nicole Kramer, who's a sales coach, say, right? And the value in you getting this in your being is that you are actually a role model for someone else. You are. There are times that we think that what we do doesn't matter, who we are doesn't matter. It does matter. Okay, someone else is looking at you. Someone else is inspired by you. Someone else is being impacted by you. That's how important you are. That's how important it is how you're living your life. That's how important it is that you live out your vision, your dreams, your desires. Because it is not just about you. There's someone else that is involved. It is also about someone else. Sometimes we think that our goals, our desires, our vision is just about us. No, 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 no. It is not. It is not just about you. As my mentor Gina DeVee likes to say, it's always a double blessing. It always is. It is not only you that gets blessed in the process, someone else gets blessed in the process. You never know who's watching. You never know who's inspired by you. You never know who's looking at you. You just never know, right? So your dreams matter. Your desires matter. Your goals matter. Your vision matters. And your vision will require you to become the person that can fulfill that vision. This is why it's a process that you have to go through. There is shedding that needs to occur, shedding of old thoughts, old beliefs, old conditionings, old habits, old ways of being, old beliefs. All this needs to shed to give space for the new you that you need to become. Develop skills that you need to develop. Develop the mindset that you need in order for you to become that person and have that which you desire. All of this is necessary. All of this is necessary. So if that is you and you're ready to do this work, you're ready to step into the version of you that your vision requires. You're ready to gain the clarity that you need so you know what your next steps are. Your next step, not the logical next step, your soul's evolution next step. You're ready to understand what are the blocks and transform them so they're stepping stones. You're really ready to change your life once and for all. Then I'm going to highly recommend that you schedule a clarity call with me. Just message me. I'm always putting the link to schedule the clarity call with me. And in that call, we're going to go over where you are now, where you desire to be, what is needed to close that gap, and how I'm able to help you. Because you don't need to be going in circles. You don't need to be lost. You don't need to be living a life that isn't in alignment with who you really are. None of this needs to keep happening. It's already the ending of March. How long are you going to wait? Because your vision is waiting for you. Your desires is waiting for you. The very things that you want, they're just waiting for you. They're waiting for you to take action. The moment to take action is now. The moment to step forward into you becoming the person that your vision requires is now. It is not later on. It is not later on this year. It is not in May. It is not in October. It is now. You'll be amazed how different your life can be in 3 months, in 6 months. But it requires you to take the first step. Okay. So schedule that clarity call with me if you're ready, and share this video with other people. You never know who needs to listen to this message. You never know who could be transformed because of this message. Okay. And it is my desire that you allow this message to really sink in, and that you really get that it is never a good time for you to give up on your dreams. It is never a good time for you to give up on your desires. It never is. You never know who's looking at you, who's inspired by you, who's motivated by you, right? You may be very close to that which you desire more than you can possibly imagine. And because also your vision gives you life. It gives you life. It gives you purpose. It gives you direction. Okay. And with this said, it is my desire that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.